The world is loud. Every morning it assaults you with flashing screens, urgent notifications, and 1,000 voices clamoring for your attention. The chaos isn't just external. It finds its way into your thoughts, whispering doubts, fears, and insecurities. You wake up, and before your eyes can fully adjust to the light, your mind is already spinning, tangled in a web of other people's opinions, expectations, and judgments. In that moment, you feel small, powerless, as if your identity is dissolving into the noise. But even amidst the chaos, a single truth emerges. You have a choice. You can surrender to the storm, allowing it to dictate your mood, your actions, your destiny. Or you can step back, breathe, and recognize the noise for what it is: distractions, illusions, and borrowed fears. To reclaim your life, you must first see the battlefield in your own mind. Recognizing the noise requires courage. It is not enough to notice that the world is chaotic. You must face the uncomfortable realization that you have allowed it to shape you. Every thought you entertain, every story you believe, every fear you internalize has come from somewhere else, often far from truth or wisdom. You might catch yourself replaying harsh words someone said, fixating on headlines designed to terrify, or scrolling endlessly through images of success that make your own life feel lacking. This is the noise, persistent, seductive, and deceptive. And yet you are not powerless. Like a warrior learning the rhythm of battle, you can discern which influences are harmless and which are corrosive. The key is vigilance, a steady gaze on your inner world, refusing to let every external voice become the voice in your head. Clarity begins when you stop feeding the noise and start questioning it. Choosing what to feed your mind is an act of rebellion against chaos. Imagine your mind as a garden, fertile and alive, capable of producing beauty or decay depending on the seeds you plant. When you allow negativity, fear, and gossip to dominate, your garden withers, leaving only thorns of doubt and anxiety. But when you consciously choose thoughts of hope, courage, and truth, something remarkable happens. Life blooms inside you. You begin to notice patterns in the noise, moments when you instinctively reach for despair and replace them with reflection and understanding. Every book you read, every conversation you engage in, every deliberate thought you nurture becomes sunlight on your mental garden. The power lies not in controlling the world outside, but in curating the world inside, giving yourself permission to rise above the static and drink deeply from sources that nourish your soul. The act of feeding your mind wisely is also an act of liberation. It is the moment when you realize that no matter how loud the world shouts, your inner voice, the one grounded in truth, purpose, and clarity, can rise above. It is cinematic in its quiet majesty, you standing alone in a dim room, choosing to turn off the endless scroll, picking up a book that speaks of wisdom, and feeling the tension in your chest ease. With every choice, the fog begins to lift. Decisions are no longer reactionary. Emotions are no longer hijacked by headlines or rumors. Each thought you allow in becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you want to build. A life guided not by external chaos, but by intentionality and vision. You are reclaiming your mind, one deliberate choice at a time, and in doing so, reclaiming yourself. Finally, recognizing the noise and choosing what to feed your mind is an ongoing journey, a continuous practice that becomes part of your identity. The world will always offer distractions, fear-mongering, and conflicting voices, but the discipline to curate your inner life transforms not just your mind, but your entire existence. You begin to see yourself in slow motion, observing the subtle ways your thoughts shape your actions, your relationships, and even your destiny. There is a cinematic beauty in this evolution, the quiet triumph of clarity emerging from confusion, the weight lifting from your shoulders as you choose purpose over panic. Every morning becomes a rehearsal for the life you want to lead. Every choice a declaration that you will no longer be a passive observer of the chaos. By feeding your mind wisely, you forge a sanctuary within, a place where peace, strength, and clarity reign even when the world outside rages on. The world is full of invisible traps, subtle currents that can pull your mind into darkness before you even notice. Toxic influences creep in disguised as advice, entertainment, or companionship, whispering doubts, planting insecurities, and feeding fear. At first, they seem harmless, a casual comment, a trending post, a popular opinion, but over time they accumulate like a slow poison in the bloodstream of your thoughts. You might not see the damage immediately, yet every unguarded moment chips away at your clarity, your confidence, your purpose. It is cinematic in its quiet cruelty, the relentless drip of negativity staining the walls of your mind while you remain unaware, moving through life under a shadow you didn't invite. To survive, to rise, you must become a vigilant sentinel, learning to recognize the subtle threats and decide which voices deserve your attention and which must be denied entry entirely. Your mind is a fortress. The gate must be defended. Guarding your mind begins with awareness and discipline. The toxic influences often come clothed in familiarity, friends who gossip, media that thrives on fear, voices that echo your doubts back at you. They are seductive because they feel comfortable, safe even, until you realize how much they shape your perception of reality. Imagine standing in a crowded marketplace, the air thick with competing voices, every whisper vying for your attention. Some are harmless, even beneficial, but others are sharp knives cutting at your self-worth and distorting your vision. The cinematic tension builds as you step back, raising an invisible shield, refusing to let every stray word dictate your inner peace. This is not arrogance, it is survival. Every thought you protect, every influence you reject, is a declaration that your mind will no longer be a passive recipient of chaos, but a disciplined arena for clarity, purpose, and growth. Setting boundaries against toxic influences is an act of courage. It is choosing to leave behind relationships, habits, or sources of information that drain rather than uplift, that confuse rather than clarify. Picture a character walking away from a burning city, smoke curling around them, flames consuming structures that once seemed essential. The journey is lonely at first. The echoes of lost connections haunt your steps. But as the smoke clears, a new horizon emerges, one of possibility, peace, and intentional living. Each boundary you draw is a lifeline, a step toward reclaiming your autonomy. You realize that protecting your mind does not mean isolating yourself from the world. It means consciously curating what enters, nurturing influences that bring light, wisdom, and courage. The cinematic beauty lies in that quiet triumph, in standing amidst chaos yet untouched, your mind a sanctuary that no fire can breach. Guarding your mind also requires the courage to confront internalized toxicity. Often the most dangerous influences are not outside but inside. The lingering voices of past failures, harsh criticism, and unhealed wounds. They masquerade as truth, repeating lies until you start to believe them. Imagine a darkened theater where shadows on the walls replay memories that never served you, looping endlessly. You could remain a captive of those illusions, or you could rise, step into the light, and rewrite the script of your thoughts. The cinematic shift happens as awareness meets action. You recognize the narrative, challenge its authority, and replace it with truth, affirmation, and possibility. The mind that once trembled under the weight of toxic echoes now stands resolute. Each internal victory strengthens the walls of your mental fortress, allowing no deceit, no fear, no external chaos to infiltrate the space you have intentionally claimed. Finally, guarding your mind is a lifelong discipline, a constant vigilance that becomes a defining part of who you are. The world will never stop offering temptations, distractions, and corrosive influences. Yet each day presents a choice: surrender to the noise or stand firm. It is cinematic in its epic simplicity, the protagonist walking through stormy landscapes, rain pelting down, yet moving with purpose, eyes fixed on a horizon only they can see. Every decision to reject toxicity, every choice to protect your mental space, compounds into strength, clarity, and resilience. You begin to notice subtle shifts, a calmer heart, sharper perception, a sense of invincibility that doesn't come from controlling the world, but from mastering your mind. Your mental fortress, once a concept, becomes reality, a place of sanctuary and power, where peace reigns even when chaos rages around you. Each day you guard your mind, you guard your life itself. The first step toward renewal is awakening to the rhythm of your own mind, the subtle cues that reveal when you are drifting into patterns that weaken instead of strengthen you. Imagine a lone figure standing at dawn on a fog-covered cliff, the world below still asleep and the air thick with the scent of possibility. This is the space where habits are born and refined, where reflection becomes the light that illuminates the path forward. Each deliberate act, a morning routine, a moment of gratitude, a pause to breathe, becomes a stroke on the canvas of your life, painting clarity over confusion. The cinematic tension is in the choice. Remain swept along by the inertia of old behaviors, or stand firm and let intentional actions reshape the landscape of your mind. In the silence before the day begins, the seeds of transformation quietly germinate, waiting for the courage to nurture them. Reflection is not passive. It is an act of profound courage. To gaze into your own thoughts and confront the patterns that keep you stuck is to step into a darkened theater where past mistakes, regrets, and fears replay like uninvited shadows. The cinematic tension rises as you watch these projections, tempted to turn away, to hide, to ignore. But renewal demands confrontation. You begin to journal, to meditate, to interrogate the stories you tell yourself, asking which ones are truth and which are changed. Slowly, as the fog of distraction lifts, clarity emerges. The habits of reflection act as a mirror, revealing both your weaknesses and your untapped strengths. Every insight, every revelation becomes a tool, a weapon in the war to reclaim your mind, to build a fortress of intentional thought where chaos once reigned. Positive habits are the architecture of transformation. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone, each deliberate strike revealing the figure within. Your habits shape your mental landscape in the same way. Small, consistent actions gradually molding your mind into a vessel capable of resilience, focus, and joy. Reading daily, exercising, speaking affirmations, or even choosing moments of silence are the chisels that carve clarity from chaos. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways, creating a momentum that propels you forward even when motivation falters. The cinematic beauty is in the rhythm. Early mornings bathed in soft light, hands busy with intentional tasks, the mind clearing like mist over a lake. Transformation does not arrive in a single moment. It unfolds in the patient, unwavering commitment to doing what renews you, over and over, until who you are inside finally aligns with the life you want to live. Habits and reflection also forge resilience against the storms of life. Picture a solitary figure walking along a coastline as a tempest rages, waves crashing against cliffs, wind tearing at clothing, yet each step measured and purposeful. Those who cultivate positive habits and moments of introspection are anchored in a way that the world cannot easily shake. Reflection allows them to process pain without letting it fester, to recognize patterns before they become destructive, and to reclaim moments of choice, even in chaos. Habits provide the framework. Daily rituals of focus, study, gratitude, and self-care act as shields and stabilizers. The cinematic tension resolves into quiet power. The figure stands tall, soaked but unbroken, every drop of rain a reminder of past struggles faced and conquered. The mind becomes a trained instrument, capable of navigating storms without being tossed. A sanctuary in motion amidst the chaos of the world. Finally, renewal through habits and reflection is a journey without a final destination, a cinematic odyssey of constant rebirth. Each day offers a chance to examine, refine, and recommit, transforming small actions into monumental change. Imagine a sunrise spilling golden light over a city, illuminating streets that were once shrouded in darkness. The protagonist, no longer passive, moves deliberately. Each step a conscious choice, shaped by the reflection and habits cultivated over countless days. Patterns that once enslaved are now allies, guiding rather than constraining, while clarity blooms where confusion once thrived. The mind, nourished by consistent reflection and empowered by intentional habits, becomes a sanctuary of strength and vision, a place where decisions are no longer reactive but deliberate, where life is no longer survived but designed. In this cinematic transformation, every habit, every reflective moment becomes a brushstroke painting, the masterpiece of a renewed mind. Beliefs shape the lens through which you see the world. Every limitation, every self-doubt, every fear you've carried began as a thought you accepted as truth. Imagine walking through a dimly lit corridor, walls closing in, shadows whispering lies about your potential and worth. Each step feels heavy, as if the air itself conspires against you. The cinematic tension rises as you realize that these walls, these barriers, are built not by the world, but by your mind. The first act of redemption is recognizing the architecture of these limiting beliefs. They are the stories you've replayed so often that they feel permanent, unchangeable. Yet even here, in this narrow, confining corridor, a spark flickers. The realization that you can tear down these walls brick by confronting the lies and deliberately replacing them with truths that empower, liberate, and redefine the very landscape of your mind. Challenging limiting beliefs begins with awareness and courage. The shadows of past failures, harsh criticisms, and societal expectations often feel like undeniable truths. You might hear them echo in moments of doubt, replaying scenes from your life where you stumbled or fell short. Picture a character standing before a storm, lightning illuminating the oppressive clouds of self-doubt, wind tearing at their resolve. The cinematic tension is